Hello everyone and welcome to Drawing with Paolo. Today we're going to be drawing the Terminator, and in this case we need to have a nice gray background. So that's why you can see me coloring this background, and I'm going to smudge everything with this paper towel here to make it nice and gray, uniform gray. You can use a paper towel as you can also use the back of your hand. I just want to have a nice layer of gray so that today we're going to be using our eraser to make really nice reflections. So I'm going to use my palm here to smudge that up a little bit more. And let's start with the Terminator head right here. We're going to build down his neck sort of over here. His clavicles will be somewhat this way. His shoulder here. His other shoulder somewhere here. His arm, elbow, forearm. So quite understandably, we're now building the skeleton of this Terminator. Not the skeleton as far as detail is concerned, but pretty much where the body parts will be, like the fingers here. And like I said earlier, we're going to be using a nice eraser to erase a lot of the gray, and it's to make a nice white reflection in our drawing, and it should work out pretty well. Here is his hips. His hips are here. His forearm should be, well, here's where the gun should be anyway. We're going to put the gun placement in here. Now, for this drawing, you will need a white eraser. I prefer the white erasers myself because they don't smudge the paper so much. And a lot of people I know use the pink erasers, but I'm not a big fan of those. So I like using a white eraser, and I also use a really thin tube-shaped eraser. It sort of looks like a pencil, but it's made of white elongated eraser material, and so you can find those in your art store or pick them up at any I guess office supply store. And if you'd like to get more information on the tools I use, you can visit my YouTube channel and check out the special video on drawing tools, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about thin elongated eraser. If you don't have a thin elongated eraser, you can always cut your eraser a little bit to get a really nice thin one. You can't use a really fat eraser today because it will be a little bit difficult. So here's this weapon, which is a blaster of some sort. Just drawing in some shapes, and you may notice that these shapes are pretty much only rectangles and triangles. It's very simple, except for this portion here. And we'll slide in a few details. Another diagonal line here, and then we're going to make this line a little bit thicker. Put in a little crevice here, and then trace out the outlines here. Now, keep in mind that today you may require full control of your YouTube video to pause and rewind and fast forward certain sections. Probably not fast forward, as I'm going to be fast forwarding a lot of stuff on my own, but you may think some of my drawings are too quick, and this is a very complex drawing today. It's going to take us about 51 minutes or so to complete this entire drawing, and so you may want to fast forward parts of it if you're not interested in drawing it at the same time. If you want to draw it, I would recommend you watch it once and then you watch it again while drawing along. You may have to rewind certain portions or pause it while you color certain sections to catch up with my drawing. And that's fine. That's the whole purpose. I don't want you to have to watch me color this for 20 minutes and it ends up being a 40-minute video of just coloring. In this case, it's really an hour of just drawing. The coloring portions are very, very quick. So remember to pause this stuff and just catch up. That's cool. Okay, so we're just adding a few details here and there within this this gun, and just thickening up the lines a little bit here, and we're going to color that in really quickly. Tracing outlines here and there, just like that. There we go, pull out a straight line here, and this is where the barrel of the gun comes out of right here. A nice tube, cylinder shape. So once again, it's still a rectangle, but the way that we shade it creates a tube effect with it. So you'll notice that I'm going to leave a little white section here, and then this will be curved, just like that. But then the bottom part will be a gradient. So really dark at the bottom and going from dark to light at the top. So light on top, dark at the bottom. A nice little gradient here. And same thing on the edge of the tube over here on the cylinder. This will be nice and dark right here. Just like that. Coloring the tube here, the smaller tube in between the pistol and the muzzle. And I'm going to make this section a little bit darker, push that back a little bit. And a little bit of a drop shadow here, cast shadow underneath this section. And let's not color where the hand is, because we're going to add some hand detail later on, and I don't really feel like erasing there until I know where the fingers are going to be. So we're going to leave it uncolored there for the moment. We can color in there later on. So you may notice that I'm leaving a nice space where the hand should go. With the details, I'm just going to be stopping short of where the hand is. But this section here, we can draw that in pretty well. This might be like a, I don't know, bullets maybe shot from the bottom here, I guess, and could be another laser, I'm not really sure. But there is a little cannon portion here. So in front of me, you can't tell from the camera angle here, but I've got a Google search on Terminator, and I've got a whole bunch of images of the Terminator. And so I can skim through all of the images that I need to get the details required to draw this character today. And a lot of people keep writing saying, hey, you know, how do I draw without a model? And it seems to be that people think that that's a bad thing, to have to draw with a model. And I don't think that's bad at all. You have to draw with a model for a period of time until you get used to drawing either the human body or that specific character. If you don't use a model, then how do you know what to draw? You know, so I went to school. I went to art school. I went to university and college to learn how to draw and stuff like that. And we had tons of hours with a model in class that we had to draw the model. It was either a live model, a person, or it was plants and bottles and whatever else. And you need to get your brain used to looking at things to better draw them. Now, once you've gotten the practice, you probably won't need a model as much anymore. But at first, everybody needs a model. And even in the long run, you know, if you want to have a really cool superhero, let's say, swinging on a rope, or a really cool pose in the air, well, there's nothing stopping you from getting a ski jumper, for example, as a model to model your superhero. Or a skateboarder that has a really cool pose and you can transform him into a superhero or a you know, another kind of character. There's nothing stopping you from using models in most of your drawings, just so that you have a better idea of positioning and proportion and all that stuff. So in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with using models within your drawings. Now in my case, for this character, I'm going to use a whole bunch of different images to produce this character, and you know, there's one specific one that looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to use that as a reference. And so for this gun, for example, that's a good reference point for it. But I'm going to bring in my own modifications to it, my own positioning to it, my own angles to it, and so on. And so really making it my drawing. And I guess the same should be said for you. If you're drawing this Terminator drawing with me today, well, you can make your own modifications to this video. You don't have to, well, not to the video itself, but to the drawing of this video, within this video. You can make the modifications that you like. If you want the gun to be darker, don't be shy, and so on and so forth. You know, do what you like. All right, let's start working on the head here, and we're going to create where the eyes will be. So he's sort of wearing like a metal plate where his eyes are set in here, and this is where the teeth will go latch onto, right here, and a little cheekbone here on this side. It's a nice contour line here, and then we're going to create his eye slits. But right after, we've drawn his nose. And here's his nose hole. It's not like he's breathing through this, right? He's a robot, an android, doesn't need to breathe. And we're going to bring this around here for his eyes. Just like this. Sort of like kidney shaped. Right, so look like kidneys or kidney beans. And we're going to leave him a little bit of a contour here, a nice darker contour, because I'm satisfied with that outline, so I'm going to now darken that. Give him a pupil in here. So this thing, the pupil we'll have in there will be just a really small circle. But first we're going to finish this contour here. Contour line to the eye. And then retrace the contour of his head a little bit, make it rounder. Here's his pupil. Another one over here. Color that in so we can give the sense of a rounded shape inside that eyeball. Just like that. And then we're going to trace the contour of this face plate here. Draw that in, nice dark. Now, you know, I used to show you guys, well, I've shown you guys on a lot of occasions where you use a piece of paper to protect your drawing from your palm. You know full well that as you're drawing along, your palm will smudge your drawing. And I'm saying this while I'm drawing the jaw, so, you know, pay attention to my drawing while I'm telling you these things. But today we're not going to be using the paper technique to protect our drawing. We're going to be smudging it. I really want this drawing, because it is the Terminator, to be dirty and smudged a little bit and dark and gritty. And so that's what my palm is doing while I'm drawing. I'm just going to be smudging this constantly, making it darker and darker. And then the cool part will be we'll come in with a eraser later on and erasing parts of this drawing to make a really nice white reflection on the metallic feel of the Terminator. Here's a neck connector, which is sort of like the neck muscles to this Terminator. It's just an actuator that comes down this way. And then we got another portion here that comes down to his jaw. Another actuator that opens and closes his jaw there. And another one on this side which attaches to the chin section. A little bit of a hole there in the chin, a recess. And we can color this in dark a little bit. Do the same thing on this end, so just make it dark on the edge. And fill this portion with sort of vertical, zigzaggy lines, you know, intersecting. Just to give it an idea of detail within those deep sections of that face there. I think the difficult part to this drawing is to make everything balanced in contrast, and the difficulty is to make a drawing that is a bit too gray, right? The same shade of gray across, as we're going to be smudging this drawing as we go on. So it'll be important to really make certain portions very, very black and certain portions very, very white. And so we may be retracing certain lines and re-erasing certain portions, and that'll become important for us here to make this drawing a success. Let's add his teeth here. Nice little shapes to reproduce his teeth. Flat at the bottom, curved on top, and the opposite at the bottom here, curved at the bottom, flat on top. There you go. And nice little chromy reflections here on his upper lip. Well, yeah, okay, I know he doesn't have a lip. Not yet anyway, or it's gone. Yeah, we don't know if this is just a robotic Terminator. And as you can see now, with my eraser, I'm going to be adding some really cool reflections. So, because we smudged our paper, it's really neat to be able to get that paper color there in the background. Now, keep in mind, the bottom of your palm will be totally black, and that's absolutely normal. That's what's really cool about drawing. You can really get into that drawing there and smudge your hand, have a lot of fun playing around. But be careful not to dirty your house. That may happen. So, but don't wash your hand while you're drawing. After you're drawing, you can wash your hand. We really want to use that smudging possibility with our hand here. So this is the tool I was telling you about, that elongated eraser. It's like a pencil, but there's no lead in there. It's really just a white eraser, and it makes some really cool erasing some small details, right? And I'm going to, for the reflection on his head, of this Terminator's head, I'm going to use the same kind of pattern that we did for the boxer we did a few weeks ago. And in that boxing drawing, we had the boxer to the right had a shaved head, and he had this sort of reflection to his head because lights were coming from, you know, a whole bunch of sides. And so we're going to use that same technique here on this Terminator. This is the T800. It's not as massive as a T600, and but he's very chromy, so we have to draw this chrome effect everywhere on this character. with some very, very dark lines, some lighter grays to create an effect of shading, and some darker lines like these ones here onto his skull right there, like that, a little bit darker. And draw along as we go. We're going to just keep adding some dark lines and some lighter lines to create the effect of chrome. So a few weeks ago I placed a hint about my next drawing, and the hint was a T600, and I put that picture on my Facebook page, my Drawing with Paolo Facebook page, and people were really excited to get this drawing done. And so this is the actual drawing of that hint I left a few weeks ago. And so I really hope you like this drawing today, and I'm really starting to like the head here. It's coming out really good. So a lot of detail in this character. Luckily, and I am sort of cheating, there's a big gun in front of his body, and so you understand why I'm drawing it this way, is to save us a little bit of detail, because this is a really long drawing. It's nearly an hour, very nearly an hour, and the other drawing I had, which was pretty long, was the Halo character that we drew, and that was about 45 minutes or so. So I think this is the longest video ever so far from Drawing with Paolo. And so if you guys are still with me by the end of it, I want to congratulate you already on beforehand anyway, on being able to stick around until the very end. It requires lots of patience to be doing this thing here. So let's erase here this white section out of his jaw. Really have that nice reflection, and you can see how that white just pops off that page there. I can now retrace the jaws, because your eraser might be a little bit wider than that line, and that's normal. It'll erase a little bit more stuff than you want, and it's good for us to be able to retrace those lines afterwards. That's cool. It's not a problem. We're going to trace his other neck muscle here, which connects to these clavicles. They're like horizontal lines. They sort of look like bolt keys there. Anyway, we'll talk about that later on. Let's color the background here. The entire drawing will be contoured in black, and I've not done that before. Not done that really. So we're going to color this very dark behind here, so that we can have that nice chrome white reflection coming out, and you can see how dark I'm making that there. And of course, this is just going to make our drawing a lot smudgier, and that's normal. We'll expect that. So here's a few details that are laser etched within his skull. It's a few lines here and there, a little dot here. And so we're going to draw through the neck muscles. We're going to color in that background so that head really pops out. Alright, so let's work on his connector here. So this will, it's like a wrench, actually. It sort of looks like a wrench anyway. All the Terminator shapes look a lot like a wrench to me, or keys, or any kind of those tools that you use for plumbing and for tightening bolts and whatnot. You can use those as a great detail in order to help you with drawing the details of these parts here, especially these ones up here where the clavicles are. If you grab yourself a wrench, or grab your own tools, or ask your parents for the tools that are very chrome, or have a chrome outer layer, and that'll help in drawing these details. It really looks like those torque wrenches, for example. This section here sort of looks like a few of those torque wrench heads. And if you don't have those tools at home, what I'll do is I'll give you guys a little example of that. So this picture right here will demonstrate what I'm talking about. So either the key, or the wrench, or the torque wrench, if you have any of those in your house, they're really great examples to drawing the Terminator body parts, as they are highly reflective, and it helps you in building the chrome parts of all that. So we'll get rid of that drawing, or that picture rather. And so in order to draw this character more realistically, if you like, you can get some of those tools and put them around you as you're drawing. And they're a great idea in drawing chrome and reflective surfaces. If you don't have those tools, you can look at your door handles at home, and my door handles are sort of chromish or highly reflective anyway, so you can use those as details for these kind of body parts, these Terminator body parts that are very shiny, very reflective. And those are great examples. Once again, however, you are going to be using a model. You're using the model in order to better understand how to draw this chromy, highly reflective portion. Alright, so we're going to add a shoulder part right in here. So there's somewhat of a circular shape. And then there's an actuator that attaches here, and another one that's sort of up here. And we should have like a sort of cylindrical piece inside back there. Another curved part, something like this. These are like, I don't know, tubular pieces to build the chassis. Then we've got a nice circular pattern here for his shoulder. This will be nicely erased, so we can add some really nice reflections in here. This is sort of like the handle to our torque wrench. Right, so we can actually see the torque wrench in there. Watch, I'm going to retrace it out here. It's exactly like the torque wrench picture I showed you before. Sort of looks like that. And I'm going to add the chroming effect to it. So here's the handle to that torque wrench. A tubular shape that curves here. And then there's a little bit more wider portion to the bottom part here that attaches to the shoulder. Curved a little bit on this end, right? They're tubes, so they need to be, details need to be curved here. And once again, sort of like we did with the muzzle to this gun, we need to make this tube shape with a gradient. So here's that wrench. You can actually see that torque wrench right there. Here's the head of the torque wrench. I'm coloring now. And the thinner part of the torque wrench right here. So, you know, anyway, it's probably not what they use to build a Terminator. You know, tools are attacking us, run! Yeah, it's really just an idea for how to render your chrome. So there's this big side panel here on the arm of the Terminator, which sort of looks like where bullets can bounce off it, sort of like armor. And he's got an actuator, or a piston here on the left side, which is like a tricep muscle, which latches to the elbow part here, which will put a circle right here. Here's that other section of the actuator or piston. We have another one for the bicep over here. So this one will be a little bit shorter because the arm is bent. And because the arm is bent, it's a little bit shorter. And over here, we'll add the nice reflections within these tubes. And remember, it's nice and chromy. And as I said earlier, you can decide to erase exactly where I erase. You can decide to leave it gray. You don't have to follow my drawing to the T. You can actually, if you want, follow exactly the same, draw exactly the same thing as I am drawing. And others have shown a little bit of courage and done something different, but have used my drawings as an example. But if you want to draw the exact same thing, be my guest. Do it. You know, do what you want to do. That's what's fun about drawing. I've been saying it since 2010. You know, drawing is a lot of fun. It's your place to imagine and draw whatever you like. And add another circle within another circle within another circle, and we're going to add this nice reflective surface right here. There's another drawing that we've drawn before that was highly reflective as well, and that was the knight in shining armor. So you can check that out on my YouTube channel. But this one is the most reflective I think we've had so far. That actuator there that probably pulls his arm forward. And darken this line in here. There's a little letter H here on that portion there now. You know, all these details I'm really getting off of those sample pictures that I have on my computer in front of me. Because I can't just come up with that in my imagination. I can draw a whole bunch of junk, but I really want it to look authentic. So I'm following the imagery that I have here scattered around on my computer screen to help me figure this stuff out. All right, and you know, like I said, I'm not following it exactly, but I want it to be authentic, so close enough to the real thing. There's this sort of portion here, which is sort of like the middle section of your chest, what we call the sternum, and this section here seems like it is the Terminator sternum, which is right in the middle of your chest. If you put your fingers right in the middle of your chest, you'll feel that there's a flat section there in the middle, and that's what the Terminator has. And then this portion that is inside there to fill in the body, which probably keeps the shoulders attached to the main body. I'm not sure what these things are for. Alright, then we're going to erase, add more reflection. Like I said, some of these body parts we're going to have to keep erasing because as our palm works on top here, we're going to be smudging some of this drawing back. And I'm going to color real quickly the outline here, so the background, nice black background. And once again, these are great opportunities for you to pause the video if you need to. Don't let me destroy your drawing, right? Take your time, pause it if you like. You may have noticed, by the way, that I am drawing from top to bottom and from left to right, and that's because I'm right-handed. Right-handed people, because we don't want to smudge the drawing too much, you know, especially when we're drawing regular characters. In this case, it doesn't really matter. We're going to be smudging it. We know we're going to be doing that. But in a lot of cases, you'll see me drawing from top to bottom and left to right because as I'm right-handed, I tend to smudge my drawing less. So that's why I'm drawing the left side first here, so that by the time I get to the right side, there's nothing left for me to smudge. There's nothing drawn yet, but I will be smudging the gun at this point, for sure. If you're left-handed, I apologize. I'm right-handed, so I can't show you how to draw lefty. But what you can do is, I don't know if you have the capability, if you can, at home, is flip the video. I don't know how to do that, but you can. If you can flip the video, then you'll see how to draw it as a left-handed person. So all you need to do is draw from top right to bottom left if you're a lefty, so that you don't smudge your drawing too much. It's a really, really cool trick not to smudge our drawing. Alright, so we're going to contour this cylinder shape here, and we're going to add a nice chrome effect to it. But I'm going to go color this in a little bit darker. I've noticed in some instances that there's there's not enough contrast in these portions, so I'm going to recolor in some of those parts. Add more detail, darker lines and whatnot to really separate these things. Or erase, you know. Add a nice highlight. These are called highlights. These white sections that just pop out, these are called highlights. Alright, so the chrome essentially, as we've done this before, is just a vertical line, darker vertical line, a space, another darker vertical line, another space, and another darker vertical line. And so this gives the idea of chrome. It's really cool. And with a little bit of a shadow at the top here, and at the bottom is a little bit darker. And just a little bit of a highlight here with the eraser. And we're going to retrace that line a little bit more. And there you have it. There's that chrome effect, which is pretty nice. Comes out really good. Retrace the outline here. And my problem with my pencil is as I'm tracing my outline, the graphite keeps just pushing back into my pencil. So something wrong with my pencil. I have to change the graphite in here. If you have been wondering what kind of pencil, because we are talking about the pencil, what kind of pencil I'm using here, I'm using a Bicmatic HB lead, and it's a 0.7 millimeter lead. And for some reason it seems like it's a 0.7 pencil, so it should be a 0.7 lead in there, but it keeps sliding back into my pencil as I'm applying pressure, which is quite painful, not much fun. I have to keep pushing that lead back out constantly, so I think I'm going to change lead. And you won't see it happen though. I'll cut it, edit it through the magic of video. Alright, so let's make a nice reflection here, nice and white. Retrace the lines. Nice black lines. Now, as I said earlier, we want some really dark darks and some very bright whites. That's what we call contrast. It's awesome. It does a really nice balance to your drawing, and really cool. Really cool to look at. Another actuator over here, attached to a servo back there. A lot of details left and right. So let's start working on the forearm here. The forearm is attached to the elbow over here. This should go coming down here. And the forearm is a cylinder, essentially. There's this circle here, probably a screw in there. Color the bottom here. Push that shape back. Make this nice and black. Fill in those gaps. And then we're going to color the contour. This is another good time for you to pause this video. I need a bit more lead here. And speed this up. Okay, forearm time. So here's a cylinder which comes down to this portion here, which is slightly opened on the right side. So so it from right to left, it sort of tapers. It gets thinner. And then there are, like, of course, gradients or chrome effects here. Just color that in real quickly. And then add some highlights. Really nice bright highlights in there, here and there. So I really need it to detach from the background, which is really cool. And then add some nice little detail lines here. By the way, whenever you finish your Terminator picture, your Terminator drawing, you can send it to me at Drawing with Paolo on Facebook. It's not an email address. You just come on over to Facebook, find my Drawing with Paolo page, and definitely share it there. You can attach your picture, take a picture of it with your iPod Touch or your smartphone or whatever else, and send it to me, and I'll gladly share it with everybody on my page. I'm approaching 2,000 followers on Facebook, and I'm really glad about that because it's a really cool place to share our drawings together, and it ends up being a really nice community of people just sharing their art, and it's a lot of fun. And as I've said in my videos before, I tend to answer most, if not all, pretty much all, anyway. As far as Facebook is concerned, I answer all my email. All of my discussions happen there on Facebook. I've consolidated all of my communication to one single location, which is Facebook. I have close to 37,000 followers now on YouTube, and it's just too many to answer every comment on every video. It just doesn't make any sense for me to do that anymore. So it's a lot easier for me to track you guys on Facebook. So come on by. But I do have a Twitter account. I do have a Google Plus account and a Facebook. So you can follow me through those social media outlets. Alright, so here are the actuators for the knuckles for each finger here. We need to have 4 of those. Here's a 4th one down here. And we're going to add some attachments here to those, like tendons, right? They're metallic tendons. And we need to erase those as well. We need nice light reflection in those. We need to erase the knuckles as well. Just like that. And then we're going to retrace the circular shapes here. And color those in just like that. And add his fingers here. This is his trigger finger. And the other fingers are holding the handle of the gun. I don't think Terminators aim with their gun. I suspect they just use their computer programming to shoot the gun and hit their target that way. I don't think they have to look through a sight or a scope to shoot their targets. But it must all be done through their eyesight, and the eyesight adjusts the hand position to the gun to make sure they're firing correctly to hit their target. You must have a targeting GPU or something like that, you know, or CPU or whatever. CPU. Here's his other arm here, slowly drawing that in as I'm talking here. So this is where we need to erase his fingers a little bit. and attach that from the gun. We will be coloring the gun behind it. We're going to make it a nice solid gray, but the fingers need to remain white to detach themselves from the gun. Just like this. And in between each of those tendons, the tendon actuators are like these detail-y lines. So they're sort of like zigzags and lines that cross-hatch and so on. I've been using terms like cross-hatching and hatching and shading and gradient and things like that. And these terms might be somewhat complex to understand, but I've written a book about that, so you can check it out on iTunes Store. My book is called Drawing Like Paolo, Shading and Lighting. So it's a really cool book that it explains to you how to do these shaded drawings. And understanding light, how light bounces around, how shadows work, and cast shadows and all that stuff. And even talking about art, the art of chiaroscuro. So you can check it out on iTunes. It's very inexpensive, and it works on iPad and on Mac, because it's made with an Apple product. So I apologize to those that don't have an iPad or a Mac. I guess you're just going to have to get one of them to read my books. Then again, you can watch this video, and that can suffice. But for those of you that have purchased books, I thank you very much. They do encourage me to keep doing these drawings and these videos for you guys out there. And that's why these videos are made for you. I want you to learn how to draw. I really do believe that anybody can draw. Everybody has the skill. Everybody has the capability. All you need to do is practice. Remember the 3 P's. Practice, perseverance, and patience. Be patient with yourselves. You can't learn to draw in 3 days. You need to be able to practice a lot, draw a lot. I've been doing this for, close to 40 years now. So you can't draw like me tomorrow if you haven't drawn before. That's normal. You need time. And if you go back to some of my first videos, you'll notice a big difference, as I hadn't drawn in a long time, and then I decided to make these videos. And you may notice a definite difference between some of my first videos and this Terminator. I've improved by drawing every week. Now, I'd improve even more if I had time to draw every day, but I don't. I have a lot of stuff to take care of, so I don't draw nearly as much as I want to. And I also no longer have the patience to draw really long-winded drawings. So I like to be able to draw one thing and finish it in one sitting. I don't like having to put something aside and continue it later on. So this Terminator, that's why we're doing it in one shot, in 1 hour, so that this video is complete, and at the end of the video you have a completed drawing as well, just because I'm impatient at this point with my drawing. So I need to get these things done and done. I just got that way through age, I guess. I used to spend tons of time with drawing, and now I just don't feel like drawing for 4 hours anymore. So that being said, this is another reason why I use pencil. Pencil is very efficient. I can put down a line very quickly. I can erase it very quickly. If I make a mistake, I either draw on top of it or I erase it. It's very simple. That's why I use these Bigmatic pencils, because I just need to tap the button on the back of them and the lead comes out. I don't need to sharpen. I don't lose any time doing that. And that's, a lot of people say, hey, you've chose this pencil because it's fantastic. It does great detail and all that. And that's true. But I've chosen it because I'm lazy. Yep, you heard it now. This is the secret to this pencil, is because I don't like wasting time when I'm drawing. And that's just me. Some of you out there like to spend hours drawing, and that's fine. But keep in mind that I am a dad. I run a book company now, writing books, publishing, and I also work for Apple. So I have a lot of stuff on my plate. And so while I'm filming this video today, I have all these things to take care of. So I don't have that much time to draw. So I really like these drawings to go quickly, and that's why I draw in black and white. A lot of people tend to say, hey, you should draw in color. We'd like to see some color stuff. And I agree with the fact that you want to see those things, but 2 reasons why I don't do that. One is that it would take way more time. Imagine this video will take an hour, and there is no color. If we were to use color, it would take way more time than just an hour. And number 2 is I don't want people at home to have to go buy more materials. Everybody has a pencil or a pen or a marker, and you can pretty much do these videos with any one of those tools. Granted, you can't erase with a marker, but you can still follow along a lot of these things with the marker nonetheless. Well, we're not doing too much erasing in most of these cases, and if you were just drawing along as a sketch or whatever else, you don't have to erase so much. And I notice I'm blabbing along as I'm coloring and drawing this hand in, but that's the purpose of these drawings. Just, you know, I want to draw them quickly, I want you to learn quickly, and to use a very simple tool, and for it not to cost too much to be drawing and doing your favorite pastime. Hopefully it's become a favorite pastime of yours to be drawing. It is one of mine, and I try to draw at least once a week. I hope that you guys are drawing more than that. You should be drawing at least 20 minutes a day, 20 to 30 minutes a day. Get that juice out. You need to be creative and draw and have fun. It's fun to have drawing parties too. Get your friends together and everybody gets a piece of paper and pencil and everybody draw. And everybody encourages each other, and you know, the better ones support the weaker ones, and everybody helps each other out. Drawing should be a community of artists that are helping each other out and learning to draw and learning from each other, spreading the wealth of techniques that are out there, and having a lot of fun with drawing together. You and I are going to be drawing peace around the world. Alright, so we're going to color in this cannon here, push this line back behind his hand. We're going to add a vertical line sort of across here, going across on top there, and we're going to push that in by coloring this in darker. Let's add a thickness here. Look at that, there we go, 3 lines, and this will be back in there, sort of curved shape. And make this a little bit darker so that we can really definitely re-outline the hands. And we're going to color the background in nice and black around the gun and the shoulder, the right shoulder. Add some really dark portions within the body parts here. There's his left shoulder, his right shoulder actuator. So look at that. And then add, of course, some nice highlights with the eraser. It's coming along rather well. I'm really happy with this Terminator so far. I hope your Terminator is coming along great. If it isn't, that's great. It's a great learning experience, and I hope you try it again. Keep those drawings. Don't throw them out. You want to base yourself on your previous drawings to make your other drawings better. So keep those drawings. Make a nice stack at home. You know, if you're living on your own, then you can stack them somewhere in a room or in an office space. If you're living with a partner, then tell them, hey, you know, don't touch these drawings. They're important to me. I need to base myself on the mistakes I've made, which is perfect. If you're living with your parents, tell them, hey, don't touch these drawings. They're mine. Store them, you know, don't make a mess. However, around the house, make a nice pile somewhere where they're out of the way, but you want to keep them to base yourself on your past mistakes, or keep your successful drawings around to encourage you to get better at drawing. Alright, so this is the piston that goes down to his hip, right over here, hip line. So it's sort of like his waist muscles that allow him to pivot and bend. So we'll have another one on this side here, attached to this linkage section, like that. And we're going to draw the contour line of this portion here. And you know, I don't want this part here to be too detailed, because I really want the forearm to be the most important section of this drawing. At this section here, part of this section here. If I make these lines too dark, where his belt line is, then we'll lose the forearm in there, in the hand. So you got to be careful about that. I feel like I need to make this section a little bit wider. I'm going to color this portion in here. Make this darker back in here. A little bit of a gradient effect here on this tubular section. Tubular. A fun word to say, tubular. Add a nice highlight to those parts. Look at that, it's coming along fantastically. And we're going to color in this triangle because that's the background, and we're going to color the background here behind the arm. Bring that all the way in. Do that around the elbow. Push that farther out. Get that nice and dark here. And I don't usually color the backgrounds, once again, due to the fact that it takes a long time to do this coloring. Takes up a lot of pencil too, but for this Terminator, I think it's a really good choice to make it nice and black so that the chrome effect comes really through that blackness. Okay, a little bit of the hip here, the front part, which opens up, and this one curves to the other edge like that, to the corner, and we're going to add a little his thighs over here, which is sort of angled to probably allow for bullets to just bounce off it. And a little servo or actuator here. And here's his hip, really bent and curved off. And a little bit of shading to that, chrome effect. And then we're going to need to erase a certain portion here. Get a bit of a reflection in here, so we can see those a little bit better. And as I said before, you know, as my hand is really dirty underneath, I'm going to be making a lot of gray sections, so it's important to re-erase certain parts. You can see that how that becomes much whiter than it was. And that's because I've been smudging my drawing as I've been drawing along. And right here on the tube, you'll see, look at that. Look at that nice white coming out there now. And we may have to, you know, dance around and re-erase certain sections of this drawing to make sure that white stays white. And don't be afraid if you've erased parts. You can just redraw them. Now notice that I'm using my left hand to get the eraser rubber off the page. Because if I use my right hand, it's all black. So if I just rub my page with my right hand, I'm going to be smudging some more graphite all around the portions I've just erased. So you need to use your clean hand to get rid of that that eraser stuff there that is left over. That's coming along. That's coming along really good. I know, I know. For those of you that are English fans, it's really well. Really good is just cooler to say. Really good. So we're going to erase the fingers here, or the tendons, I mean. Oh, look at that. Very cool. Very cool. I like my drawing. I don't always like my drawings. I like this one. This one is pretty neat. You know, we drew a surfer a few weeks back, and the important part of that surfer was to draw water. The surfer wasn't so important to me, but the water was very important. Show you how to draw some water, nice wave. And the water and the chrome have a lot in common in the fact that, you know, we draw sort of swirly shapes to show reflection and whatnot. And so this Terminator should reflect upon, well, while drawing this Terminator, should reflect upon how you drew that wave that we drew when we did the surfer and the surfboard and whatnot. And that big tube wave. We need to color this in black there to push that back a little bit. We need the hips to be forward and this space here to be darker, so it's pushed back within space. We can give him his other left actuator here to mirror his right one, and put some vertical lines here. Just add some filler to this portion here. There we go. And a bit more, fewer gradients. Just like this. Add a really cool chrome effect here and there. And always adding those nice reflections back in there whenever need be. Alright, so we are approaching the home stretch. I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow here on his wrist. And I think we should darken in these little tubes here. Make this a little bit darker, so show like a cast shadow onto these portions here. And redarken in those contour lines. You know what, for a drawing like this, we don't really need contour lines. Essentially, we could have just left gradients and highlights and whatnot. That could be pretty cool. You notice how the shoulder here hardly has any outlines anymore, but I'm going to retrace those in because To me, this drawing should have some contour lines, but we don't need them. We could have just left this drawing totally gray, hardly any outlines. I'm going to smudge this in because I want a nice little gradient effect going here, but it's not working out like I want. So I think I'm just going to color more. There we go. Just fill this in. So in any case, this is our Terminator. For those of you out there that wanted the Terminator, here he is. I hope you like it. I love it, I've got to say. So thank you for that request. And I hope you enjoy your Terminator drawing. Please feel free to share them with me on my Facebook page, Drawing with Paolo. There are a few more details left to draw in here. And then, of course, my signature will be coming up next. It was great to draw for you today. I hope you enjoy this video. And we'll see you next time on another episode of Drawing with Paolo. I think the next one will probably be either Alien or Predator. I think I'm going to have to check out my drawing list, which is also available on my Drawing with Paolo webpage, which is drawingwithpaolo.com. And there's a list there that you can check out and join us and see what the drawings are coming up. There's 10 more to go. So here's my signature. See you next time on another episode of Drawing with Paolo. Have a great day.